focus on value. Whatever we are doing in our project, we are doing it in order to satisfy some need, to produce some result which will be useful for those people who are funding this particular project. So, project is all about producing some value. Yeah. Now, where do we find that value and how do we go about it? Most of the project will have an input document or input which is called business case. In some of the project you might be doing project because you have a statement of work or a contract and you just need to execute that particular contract. But even that particular case, the stakeholder, the people who are giving you a statement of work may have their own business case. So, there is a high probability in most of the cases you will find some amount of business justification or business case behind a project. If the project is a part of program, then you may have a business justification at a program level and the project might be contributing to part of that particular business case or part of that particular value. In many cases, typically the business case may have various things talking about what kind of KPIs will be used to understand is the business case is getting materialized and identifying various business justification. But in general, it will have three things which will talk about business need. The business need is why should we have this particular initiative? What is the intended stakeholder need? What is the intended business need for increasing or having this particular project? Say you are a manufacturing company and you have a need of reducing your operational cost because your margins are shrinking and your competitor are able to sell cheap and still able to make money. So, you need to find a way to reduce your operational cost, that is your business need, and if you do not find that particular need, you will not survive in the market. Now, what do you do about it? For that you need to initiate some maybe an automation project, so that it helps you in reducing your operational cost. So, along the business need, then you talk about a project justification. So, project justification is more about why this particular need to be taken care. Why should we reduce our operational cost and what is a tentative target when you are thinking of we should invest say 1 million to reduce the operational cost by 10%, does it really worth? Yeah. Should we spend this much money for just a 10% reduction or we should have a less money spent and more percentage reduction. So, project justification talks about how this project justifies by way of taking care of business needs. You may have things like return on investment calculation or there are other financial calculations also to show that yes, project has a justification. Yeah. And the project justification as well as the business need, it should align with the organization strategy. Say the organization should continue working in the manufacturing space. If the organization is thinking of exiting from a manufacturing space and getting into some e-commerce business, then does not matter if our operational cost of manufacturing units are increasing, how does it matter, because we are anyway exiting from that business. So, business strategy is something which ensures that this business need really matters, and project justification shows that okay, by doing this particular project we can take care of this particular business need. Now, these things might be made by some senior stakeholders, usually done before your project get initiated. There could be many such business cases, but only few who really satisfy the criteria in your portfolio group or in your governance group get converted into projects. So, say you have a project. Now, once you have a project, the project is expected to produce the value. Now, what is that value? Something which is defined as per the business case, the business need. I must be able to produce that. That is the whole outcome expected from the project. Now, the value can be defined in the financial term, say I should be able to reduce the operational cost by 20%, could be defined in the form of a social term, maybe I should be able to increase the safety standard or the environment compliance of the of my surrounding space. So, I should be able to reduce the pollution or a waste which is generated out of my factory. That could be a social impact value may want to produce. Brand value, that I may want to create a better brand image about my product. It may be leading to employee satisfaction, it may be leading to customer satisfaction. Right now my customers are waiting for 2 days for a product to be delivered. I want to reduce it from 2 days to 1 day. So, that depends upon what is your business case, but you need to define a value. It could be a tangible space where you can quantify it. Some of the brand value and other things might remain at an intangible space as well. So, when I define a value, you might got a clarity that it is confusing, there is a possibility of saving money sometime, but it will increase the cost, yeah, for say for our maintenance. We may be able to do the project faster, but later on it has to be paid incrementally in order to maintain that particular thing. Or sometime you may want to create a customer satisfaction by reducing the price, but that will impact your profitability. So, you need to see how satisfied you want to give to the customer by way of reducing price. So, the values may have a different dimensions and different people may have a different preferences. Yeah, if I am working in the social sector of the organization, my major focus would be that how I am reducing the carbon footprint or environmental impact by way of doing some projects, whereas my business stakeholder might be primarily focusing on how much ROI this particular project can produce. So, the value may have different meaning or a different area may be valued by different set of stakeholders. Now, as a project leader, it is a confusing stage for you. Now, in order to produce a project aligned to a value, first I need to clearly describe the value. I must have clarity that okay, these are the 5 things we valued, this is valued more over other, this much is the basic threshold we should meet. For example, I may say that for environmental consideration I should not be breaking any laws, but beyond that I should be focusing on profitability, but breaking law is not acceptable. So, something like we need to identify a threshold value, minimum value for various value dimensions, and may need to identify which one is more prioritized over other. And if we have to make a trade off decisions like say profitability versus customer acquisition, because if I reduce the price I may get more customer, yeah, that might be valued as a market share, but at the same time I have a profitability value as well. So, which one is valued more for a given project, market share or the profitability. So, such kind of clarity should be there, or you should lead as a project leader a stakeholder interaction to understand and define the value clearly. So, we define it, probably we identify some of the parameters which helps us in identifying it, we identify some set of stakeholders who might be more involved in an area of a given value. Once we have a clear identification of value, then throughout the project when we are running this, we need to revisit this value again and again. So, it has to be iteratively assessed. See, the environment is changing. You started the project of reducing the operational cost by say 10%, but now the environment has changed. Yeah? The bigger component of your cost was say fuel, and the fuel has gone through a 30% raise in the price. Now, how should you handle the operational cost thing, because even if after reducing this 10% the fuel price is anyway going up. So, overall it may have an impact. Or you initiated this project, it was including various import element. Now, because of some political uncertainties, your exchange rate got fluctuated by 20%. Now, with this 20% change, your cost estimation is going at a different direction, and the overall ROI calculation is also changing, or the customer tastes are changing, people preferences are changing, or some competitor has launched another product which is serving good part of that value which you were targeting about. So, things are changing. And in the changing space, we need to be always aware of how the impact of these changes are made or getting on our value, because our goal, our principle is focus on value. So, we need to see how these things are impacting our value incrementally or periodically. So, as a project leader, I need to organize such kind of interaction with my key stakeholders. In the adaptive way of working, reviews and demos are the good mechanism to do that particular space. In a predictive way of working, the milestone reviews and frequent interactions about how things are going on related to the outcome space, related to the business space is also a good idea. So, milestone review and an iteration review. So, we need to evaluate them iteratively, and then we need to update them. So, if you realized that this business case is not going to be achieved, maybe we need to kill the project, or the 10% is too much, we can do 8%, we need to update the business case probably, or in order to achieve a 10%, we need to do something different. Earlier we were thinking of deliverable A, but now we need to do a deliverable B, we should do that. So, based on our incremental realization of the environment which is impacting our project all the time, and our value as per our recent observation and knowledge. Sometimes we might have ignored few things before, but now we have learned by doing the project execution, we need to update our understanding. And this is the one of the critical result which comes as a milestone review or iteration review where we understand how we are moving towards our value achievement. So, what we have discussed till now, we have discussed something called value, we have discussed something called business case, and we discussed that most of the project will have a business case as a triggering thing, but yeah, it is not mandatory, there could be other reasons also to do the business or a project, but yeah, that is something we have discussed. Now, let us revisit to the statement first of a value, and then we talk about few more elements related to the value. So, what this principle focuses on? Continuously evaluate and adjust project alignment to a business objective and intended benefits and value. So, that is the whole thing, that as a project leader I need to focus on that. And here comes some of the things which I should consider while we are doing continuous project execution inside the project. First is, we need to focus on continuous value engineering. We need to find out how do we maximize the profit or the benefits, maximize the benefits for our customers, for the operating organization, for you probably, your company, as well as for other stakeholders. So, we need to find out what is the optimum level of testing we should do, what is an optimum level of risk management we should do, what is the right in this particular context, so that we can eliminate waste, we can eliminate rework. So, on a continuous basis, we need to reprioritize our work, learn from our previous lessons and improve our value focus. Yeah, because whatever we are doing, we should keep challenging our processes to find out better value and benefit generating processes for us as well as for stakeholders. So, we should do some different types of value engineering throughout. The another thing we should focus on, outcome versus over output. So, it is like this, that we need to continuously adjust to intended benefits and value. So, when you are executing this project, many times our focus is we need to produce a deliverable, yeah, maybe incrementally or at the end, depending upon the type of context you are working in. But this deliverable becomes our focus area. These deliverables are output. They are important, but they are the mean, they are the tool to produce the value which is needed for the business. So, they are the one who helps us in producing outcome, that is the word we use. So, creating a robot in my example is an output, but if this robot is unable to help me in reducing my operational cost, it is a waste. Yeah. So, what is my goal? I need to reduce my operational cost, that is my outcome I am looking for. So, when we are executing the project, when we are internally incrementally assessing our project deliverables, doing review meetings, we should focus on outcomes over output. Many times the project gets too much focus on just generating deliverable, which is not the desired expectation from the project leaders now, because our principal focus is on deliver value, focus on value rather than just focusing on the scope or output which you are producing in the project. So, that is these are the two things which you need to probably consider when you are executing your project. Now, the another element is about benefit realization. Now, let's observe this concept and then we are done with this particular principle. So, throughout the project, you may produce a robot, just stick to that example. How long will it take to generate the saving from this robot? Maybe the robot is operational for next 10 years. Maybe it requires some kind of maintenance every year, but it will serve a 10-year purpose. So, the benefit which is coming from your project may get spread across 10 years. So, when we are thinking of value generation, we need to identify in which time frame the value will get generated, and that is something we call it a mechanism of evaluating when the benefits are coming and continuously assessing like a benefit of a given project. So, that is the process of benefit realization. Sometimes you have a benefit realization or a benefit management plan which helps us in ensuring the alignment between business case and project execution, and even later on as well. In general, especially in the adaptive life cycle projects, we should have more and more stress on if we can deliver some of the values incrementally. In any context, whenever possible, the value delivery incrementally is always preferred. Who wants to ignore getting money early? You want to get money, you want to get benefits early. Why to keep working for very long and then only get the result? So, our benefit realization approach might need to focus on various aspects which will come in between to produce the desired benefit for our project. Some benefits may come in a short term space, Some benefits may come in a long term space, but when we are doing the values and reviews, we need to consider the time frame in which the benefits will come. There is a possibility that we have some stakeholders, some group or in your portfolio or a PMO space who works continuously on this particular space, and they help us in evaluating the overall realization of the benefit which is coming from a given project, and the business case realization happens over a period of time. So, if we summarize here, as a project leader, you need to focus on value. Many of you might be focusing on scope too much till now, but change your mindset and start focusing on the ultimate goal of your project, the outcomes and the value which you are expected to generate.